Our next speaker is our newly appointed Club Growth Director, Ahmad Gilliam. He's going to be speaking on club mentoring and sponsoring. Club mentoring and club sponsoring are crucial to helping new clubs get off the ground and become successful. This can be rewarding not only to the new club, but also to the Toastmaster volunteering his or her time. Ahmad is going to share with you today a presentation named The 5 W's to Club Mentors and Club Sponsors. Ahmad Gilliam.
Thank you, Kristen. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, officers, and dignitaries in the room. You might have actually been wondering, what are sponsors? What are club mentors? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a presentation that I built based off of what's sitting on the information from TLI's website, what we've got for District 63, as well as what other districts have done as well. And did this as a collaboration together to walk you through the club sponsor and club mentoring process, because we do need club sponsors and club mentors for all new clubs that we are going to start up, hopefully some point during this Toastmasters year. So let me share with you this presentation. So I'm going to share with you the 5 whys of being a club sponsor and a club mentor. But a little bit about me, I've been with Toastmasters since 2004. So I've been in Toastmasters a little bit less than 17 years. I helped start the Fruit of the Loom Toastmasters corporate club as a club mentor a few years ago, back in 2018, as well as I've been a club sponsor as well for a new club. So I'm going to share with you the process of both of these so that you understand what the difference between a sponsor and a club mentor are. So where I got this information, all of it is on Toastmasters.org based on the new Club Mentoring Matters document, and then starting from scratch how to sponsor a new club for the club sponsors document, and then some other information that I got from a few of the other districts as far as other tidbits and pieces of information as well. So you might be asking, what is the difference between a sponsor and a mentor? So the club sponsor needs to possess leadership skills and passion for Toastmasters, as well as a strong sense of dedication to helping the club charter and get started. So that's what the club sponsor is they're working with that organization, with that company, to start them off through the paperwork process, which I'm going to show you the paperwork here in a few minutes, to making sure that all the documents are filled out and making sure that everything gets submitted to TI the way it should be submitted. So then what happens is the club mentor works hand in hand with the sponsor, because they, in essence, hand off to each other. Once that club has completely gotten chartered, the mentors are there for the first at least 6 months, but they can be there a year or beyond, depending upon how the mentor wants to continue to work with the club. But they advise, they teach, they guide that new charter club through implementing the Toastmasters program with that club for at least that first 6 months, but they could be there beyond, depending upon what that mentor wants to do and just how that club is going. So it's just at least a minimum of 6 months, but it could go beyond depending upon what the mentor wants to do. Now we assign 2 sponsors and 2 mentors. And for this reason, it's because we want to have a new mentor paired with an experienced experienced mentor, as well as a new sponsor paired with a new experienced sponsor. That's so that we continue to grow the populace of how many sponsors and mentors we have, because we are going to continue to grow new clubs every year. So we're going to need more and more sponsors. And there's a benefit to being a sponsor and a mentor at the end of this program that I'm going to share with you as well. So what are the responsibilities for being a sponsor? You help organize that new club. What happens is we get a lead that goes into a specific organization, specific company. We, in essence, talk to that company, to that organization, to gauge their interest and go ahead and then start the process of how they want to organize the club. So then at that point, there's collaboration between us as the district as well as that company to figure out when are they wanting to meet? How are they going to organize and how are they going to publicize this to their to their members, to their employees, how all that's going to work. So we go ahead and work with them is setting up what that regular meeting process is going to be, whether or not they're going to meet in the mornings, at lunch, in the evenings, on the weekends, working with them as far as getting a set time of what they're going to look at and when they're going to meet. And then we also work with them through the paperwork, because each portion of the paperwork for TI's perspective is extremely important. Everything has to be filled out correctly, or else it takes more time from Toastmasters International side to get it corrected, because we have to correct the documents, resend them, and they have to finish up the processing on that. So we have to work with those companies and those organizations to make sure that everything on that paperwork is filled out the exact way that they want it filled out. And then at the end of it, once the paperwork is completed and Toastmasters International says that they're going to charter on X date, then we work with that group to set up when they want to have a charter party so that they can go ahead and we can present to them their banner and then celebrate that accomplishment that that club officially chartered. You have to understand, with getting a club started and chartered, what type of club that's going to be. We've got typically 4 different types of clubs that are started. Community clubs, which are open to the entire populace. They can be set up at community centers, churches, libraries, wherever that club wants to meet at. They can go ahead and set up and just gather together as a group. Now, we all know that we are now either online, in person, or hybrid. So the physical location of that club may not be as important today as it was 2 years ago. But them coming together, it's completely open to anybody and everyone, either within that community or even outside the community, even overseas is an option. So it's just a group that's just coming together to form a club. So their dynamic as far as starting up that club is going to be a set dynamic. Now, it's going to be different when you get into a corporate club, because the corporate clubs, if they're not open to the community and they're closed to only the corporate employees, their populace that you're going to have to advertise and they have to advertise to is completely different. They're advertising to their internal populace only. They're going to have to get the funds from, if the company's going to pay for it, they've got to get it from their budget. If they're going to have the employees pay for a portion of it, they have to work out as far as how the company wants to handle paying for those dues, paying for the charter, things of that nature. It all has to be worked out internally with the company. So they then collaborate with us and share with us what their plan is. So that's a completely different dynamic that you have to take into account when you get to a corporate club. Then you have advanced clubs, which are a little bit different because of the fact that these are Toastmasters typically that have been in Toastmasters for an extended period of time that want to come together to form a more advanced club that are looking to do projects and things of that nature that are higher difficulty than the regular Toastmasters clubs have at this point. So you have to understand that that's the dynamic with them. And then lastly, specialty, which is even completely a little bit differently because of the hack of how they perform their regular meetings. They may have meetings where it's just a strict costume policy. They may have it where it's specifically a themed meeting, every single one that is specialty made for them. So each one of these clubs have their own specific dynamic, and you have to understand which club is forming when you're talking with that group. So once you understand the club and which one that they're going down the direction of, you might want to know what then are the responsibilities for the club mentor, because the sponsors and mentors work hand in hand together. They're not separate. They're a group of 4 that work together with that organization because we want to make sure that they're off on the right foot. So those mentors share with them their experience of how the club or their club started up in the past. Okay, because the paperwork is the same. The process is typically the same, just depending upon what type of a club, the process might be a little bit different. But they're working in step by step with that organization to help them understand exactly what each document is, how it needs to be filled out, what decisions they have to come to as far as the timing of when they're going to start their club, when they want to meet, how long they want to meet, how they want to advertise, things of that nature. A lot of these clubs don't have any idea how to start that. They don't have any idea where they need to go with it. We give them options and guidance so that they can go ahead and make the best informed decision that they can. So you share with them that expertise. You're also developing your own personal capacity to translate values and strategies into productive means. So you're sharing with them your experience. You're sharing with them what you've seen in other Toastmasters clubs, because you want to share and give these new clubs any and all information so that they can make the best informed decision on how they want to proceed with their club. Each club has their own dynamic and they have their own life. We want to encourage them to make this unique to them. You want to also provide yourself as a leader and you're available to them, because you want them to know they don't have to do this on their own. We are right there, right beside them, step by step, as they make each and every choice, so that they don't think that they're on their island by themselves. We want to go ahead and just collaborate with them and be there hand by hand with them. You're also investing in the future of Toastmasters, because without new members and without new clubs, we will not grow. We have to grow and add new members and add new clubs to keep Toastmasters vibrant in the future. We all know Toastmasters is beneficial to anyone and everyone. We don't want to be exclusive. So we want to invest in these new Toastmasters because they can do anything that they can put their minds to. This is their first step in becoming the person that they want to be in the future. We want to invest in them as much as we can. You obtain fresh perspectives because we all know that each club does things the way that that club wants to do things, and there's no problems with that. Every club is different, but this is a fresh perspective that this club might be a little bit different, and you might gather ideas, thoughts, impressions that you may have never seen before because this club is learning for the very first time on how to do it. So they may do things a little bit different that might give you a completely different insight that you've never seen before. You also are building teamwork skills. This club is coming together for the very first time and having to work as officers together. You're having to help them build that team together for the very first time so that they communicate with each other. They know exactly what roles they need to do. They know exactly how the agenda is put together, how to get everyone to sign up on the agenda, how to project the agenda in the future, things of that nature. You're working with them as a team. So you're building your own teamwork skills with that team as well because you're working with them hand in hand. And also you're applying your leadership skills to a new situation because each one of these clubs is a completely different dynamic. Some of these clubs might be developing because they want to build future leaders in an organization. So they might have a specific goal in mind that they want the speakers to speak at least 4 times a year. There could be then other clubs that they are wanting to do this specifically because they want their salespeople to be able to get more comfortable with their customers. So there's a different dynamic there. But you're applying those leadership skills to that new club for them to go ahead and get started and build in the future. You may ask, who can be a club sponsor or a club mentor? Any current Toastmaster can be a club sponsor or club mentor if you have paid your membership dues with Toastmasters International and you're current. However, like I said before, we want to pair a new sponsor or mentor with an experienced sponsor or mentor so that this is not a situation that if you wait or if you run into something that's completely unique, that you've got that experience there to help you out so that you know exactly the right path that you need to go on. We don't want to put you on an island by yourself. We want to have that experience there right beside you. When can you serve as a sponsor or a mentor? The process that we've established at this point is we work with these organizations to go ahead and get them to, they go ahead and advertise and get a set number of people that are ready to go to view this demo meeting. We then go ahead and share with them what the dates and the times for the demo meeting are and set a date and a time. At that point, once we're working with them, we then at that point work to try to get a demo team established of about 6 Toastmasters. Now, what we have been liking to do is to get the mentors and the sponsors on that team that are going to be assigned to that club. This is because of the fact that you want to build the rapport from the start with that organization and that club. It's easier if you build that rapport during the beginning of the process rather than if the mentor or the sponsor are coming in immediately once the club charters, because you already know the players that are involved in the process. You know the leaders that are stepping up in the process from the very beginning. So it's easier to do that handoff if they were involved in the demo meeting because they've seen you, they've interacted with you at the beginning. So it's easier to keep that dynamic started. And like I said, the transition from the demo to the chartering process to them getting started is much easier because you've been there from the start. So that's where we're looking at. We're trying to get the sponsors and the mentors on the demo team and then continuing that collaboration and that rapport from the start and throughout the whole process. You may ask, what does the demo team look like and the demo meeting look like? Well, these meetings could theoretically be either in person, hybrid, or online only. Now, we typically like to conduct a 30-minute demonstration session that consists of only 6 roles, because what we try to do is minimize the number of roles so that we can do a 30-minute session and a 15-minute Q&A. Now, those roles would be the Toastmaster of the day, someone being the WAG person, which is the word of the day, all master and grammarian, a timer, a speaker, a table topics master, and an evaluator. That condenses it down so that you can get the meeting done in 30 minutes. And then at the end, have a 15-minute Q&A because people are going to ask questions. They're going to ask, what is this in it for me if I join up? Why do we have to have table topics? Why do you need to do an evaluation the way you do it? Things of that nature. They don't understand this because some of them have never done and been in a Toastmasters meeting at all. So we want to build those questions and answer those questions at the end of that meeting so it's fresh in their mind. And if the questions that they have pop up, we can address them right then and there. So let me share with you what this agenda looks like. So this is what the sample agenda looks like. And this is a template that I took from Kristen that I thought was really well done. So we have the call to order, then the Toastmaster, and we have the introductions for the timer, who is going to be the word of the day, all master and grammarian. Then we have a 5 to 7 minute speech. And we do table topics, then the evaluation. And then at that point, it's turned back over to the club growth director so that we can go ahead and do a Q&A session, closing remarks, and then the meeting is adjourned in less than an hour. So that's what the sample agenda looks like. So let me go back to the you may ask them what the process then and how this process works. So after that demo meeting occurs, we will work with the club to complete the paperwork during the chartering process. And actually, let me go ahead and share with you what that paperwork looks like. Because I think most of us have seen the paperwork, but I don't want to assume that everyone has seen it. Okay, so this is the paperwork, and it's included in the How to Build a Toastmasters Club document that's on TI's website. There is 6 forms that have to be completed. The first form is the application to organize a Toastmasters Club. This is where the charter payment is made. So the club would, or the organization would fill this information out. And then at the bottom, it would have the organization name, the address, and then the payment for the $125 chartering fee. And then that's where they would list if the club is going to be a community club, a corporate club, a government agency, a correctional institution, college, university, or religious organization. So that's where they would check off which one are going to be, or which club they're going to be. And then if there is a club, a current Toastmasters club that's going to sponsor this club, that's where the information would be listed. Or if there's going to be, and if we have the club mentors and sponsors at that point lined up already, that's where this is listed as far as the club sponsors and the club mentors. So that's the first document to go ahead and organize the club. Then you have the second document, which is the charter payments. This is where all the payments are listed for the charter fee. Then you've got the new members, whether or not there's going to be any dual members, any reinstated members, and any transfer members. Now, this is where we have to help them out because they're going to be brand new to this. They're not going to know what a dual member is, what a reinstated member is, what a transfer member is. We have to help them out in that process. So that's what the sponsors have to do, is to walk them through step by step on this form, because each one has to be filled out correctly. And for the new club to start up, they prefer that you have 17 brand new members, and it for the 20 be composed of 17 new members and 3 that are already with Toastmasters. Now they can go beyond 20, because I've seen clubs go as high as even 40. But within that first 20, it's got to be at minimum 3 new and 17 new and 3 experienced. So you couldn't go 4 experienced and 16 new. So you can go beyond the 20 though, but it has to be comprised of that dynamic for the first 20. And then you've got taxes portion, and then the total between those lines up above. And then the payment type, as far as if they're going to do check, credit card, things of that nature. Okay, so that's the payments that they have to be organized when it's sent to TI at that point, because Toastmasters International prefers that all the documents be put in together all at once. Now, if they want to submit them one at a time, that's fine. It just takes Toastmasters International a little bit of time if they're submitting documents in one at a time rather than the entire packet together. The third form is what we normally see as the new club member application form. It's pretty much set up the exact same way, but it's just for the charter members at that point. So whoever's chartering with that club for the charter would fill out this application, but it's structured exactly the same way as the new membership application form is. So that's the part, that's the reason why I'm not going to go into any details, because we pretty much know how that application form is laid out. The fourth form is the club officer form. Now you want to make sure when they fill this out that they're either going to say that their annual term is either annual, or the term of office either going to be annual or semi-annual. Most of the time we know it's annual, but they could theoretically elect officers once every 6 months if they choose to. And then at minimum, they have to have at least a president, 1 VP position, a secretary, or a secretary and treasurer. But they have to be by 3 different individuals. Now, Preferably, if they could get all 7 officer positions elected, that's the preferable option, that they elect all 7. But at minimum, they have to have those 4 positions filled by 3 people. And the one position that can be held by the one position that can be held by one person is the secretary and treasurer. The other 2 have to be 2 different people. Then the number 5 form is their club information. This is pretty much where the club is located, what their meeting day is going to be, what their meeting time is going to be, where they're going to meet, the address that they're meeting, again, whether or not they're going to be a community, company, government agency, correctional institution, college, university, or religious organization. You don't have to have the answer to that. That would be something you would just work with that group with to see what classification that they want to fall under. And then whether or not they're going to be sponsored by any organization, like if the company is sponsoring them, whether or not they're being sponsored, and then whether or not the company is going to pay for the dues and the new membership fees. They're only going to pay for the international dues only. They're only going to pay for the new membership fee only. They're paying for the charter fee, or they're just providing the location of where they're going to meet. So that's stuff you have to work with that group and that organization on to see what path that they're going to go down. And then obviously, if the club is going to be open to everyone, or if the club is going to be limited to a set people, like most corporate clubs are set to just the employees. So they have to make that decision as well. And then last but not least, Form 6A and 6B, which is the Constitution of Clubs for Toastmasters International. And that's just the articles for the Constitution that they have to just make sure that they list whether or not the officers are going to meet annually, semi-annually, or monthly, bi-monthly, how that's all going to work. But they just have to make sure that they fill this out and fill all the pieces out and then sign. Here at the bottom where it's the standard club options. So they may list that they could restrict the new membership because of a specific reason. So if they want the specific membership to be just to a specific department, they could list that there. That's a decision that they just have to make a decision on. Then also, as far as the club dues, they have to make the decision of whether or not they want the club dues to be $1 a month, $2 a month. However they want to structure the dues, that's where they want to have that listed. Whether or not if somebody leaves, whether or not they want to charge a reinstatement fee for them to come back. The same for the inactive dues in their regular meetings, executive meetings, terms of office, things of that nature. These are things that you have to work with that group to make the decisions as to how they want to handle the club step by step. Because each piece of this has to be filled out. So once it's all filled out, then it's sent to Toastmasters International at that point so that they can go ahead, complete the chartering process, and then charter the club officially 100% at that point. So let me go back to the presentation. So with them getting to the 20 minimum, we might have to, in essence, have an additional demo meeting, because they may, for instance, in some instances have 12 that are going to show up there. but those 12 are so enthusiastic that they might reach out to their friends, their family, or their coworkers and say, you might want to get interested in this. This is something that I learned here. This is going to benefit me. It might benefit you the same way. So we might have to have a second demo meeting for those newly interested people so that they can exactly see how the Toastmasters program works. So that might go ahead and attract additional interest for them to get over the top of the at least 20 members. So those sponsors work with the person that's in charge leading this to ensure that each one of those 7 documents are filled out correctly. And I mean 7 because 6A and 6B are separated. So it's technically 7. So they work to make sure that every page of the documents are filled out correctly, make sure if they got any questions, that they answer the questions. And if you don't know the answer to the question, you can reach out to any one of us and we can walk you through it, because all of us, me, Kristen, Maudie, Jason, we have all sponsored or mentored a club at one point and another. So if there's a question you run into, you don't have the answer, you can reach out to one of us. And tons of the other Toastmasters have done this before, and we can all share with you how to answer that question. So then what happens is that we then hand it over, that the mentors at that point work with that club from day one that they're starting to meet, because a lot of these clubs don't understand what a Toastmaster is. They don't know that they're going to have to introduce each role that's going into that meeting. They don't know how to do a general evaluation of the meeting as a whole. They don't know the general evaluator typically introduces the evaluators. So this is a process that they are understanding and trying to learn from day one. So those mentors are working with them every step of the way and answering any questions and providing any advice to them to make this as successful as a start and a continuation as they can. So you might be asking yourself, why should I be a sponsor? Why should I be a mentor? You get to share with others the Toastmasters program. If I did not hear about Toastmasters in 2004, I would not be with you today. Toastmasters changed my life so much that I know it will change thousands and millions of others if we share with them the program. If they understand the process, understand the program, they will get out of it exactly what we all got out of it. So we want to share with others how the program works, how the evaluations work, how the table topics work, to get the maximum benefit and the maximum bang for our buck that we can get out of being a member of Toastmasters. You also get to know newer Toastmasters. I have broadened my spectrum as far as meeting so many new people throughout the process of learning about these organizations, meeting with them one by one. It has given me a broader spectrum of how people learn, how people want to get better themselves step by step, and just meeting people in general that I would have never met if I never decided to help out in this manner. So I've enjoyed every step of the way with this, and I know a lot of you will enjoy the same thing. You get to invest in the next set of Toastmasters. If someone didn't take the time with me to show me how Toastmasters was going to work with me, to work with me step by step as I gave my first presentation and as I gave the next subsequent ones after that, I would have never gotten the confidence to do any presentations in the future. Someone took the time to invest their time in me. That is so beneficial to growing people in the future is because of the fact that they see that someone is being selfless and taking their personal time to invest in what they want to do so that they can get to the next level and get to the next stage that they want to get to. That is so beneficial to them in the long run, that they want to play that forward and do the same thing to others. It multiplies so much down the road, because if that one person didn't invest in me, I would have not been investing in the hundreds and thousands of people that I have talked to in the years that I've been in Toastmasters, if that one person didn't do that selfless act. So you get to invest in the future leaders of Toastmasters and the future leaders of other organizations in the future. You also get to watch how a new Toastmasters club grows from the beginning. It's like an infant child that is just learning to either crawl, talk, walk. It is so beneficial just to see them get to take that next step as they grow, as the light bulb turns on of why this is so beneficial, as they are making strides step by step. It is so enlightening to just see how they are taking that next step one by one. And last, but certainly not least, you get a path to get to your DTM. You need to be either a sponsor or a mentor for a new club to get to that DTM, because each one of those are important, because you have to complete 2 paths all the way through level 5. You've got to be either a sponsor, done a speechcraft or a leadership program or youth leadership program. So that's one piece. Then you have to either be a mentor or a club coach. That's another piece. Then you have to have served in a club officer position for at least 12 months and been a district officer, either area director, division director, and then have completed a DTM project to get to your Pathways DTM. That is the icing on the cake, because we all want to get to that Distinguished Toastmasters award at some point down the path. And this is one of those 2 pieces that you need to get to that DTM. So there's an additional benefit personally for being a sponsor or a mentor. So some things you want to remember: not all Toastmaster clubs are cookie cutter. They're not all the same. Each club has their own dynamic or energy. Some things that are working in clubs that are being excellent at this point may not work in some other clubs, because the dynamic is completely different. So you have to come in with it with an open mind, that it does not need to be identically the same way as your home club or a Toastmasters club that you're in is currently doing it. So you have to just keep an open mind that they might do things a little different. You want to be sympathetic and available to them whenever they're having difficulties. The paperwork, I will tell you, can sometimes be daunting, especially if they don't understand how they're going through the paperwork. So they might get frustrated that there's so many hoops that they have to jump through. Be there with them step by step through the paperwork. Apologize to them if necessary, but you want to be there step by step, because I tell you, once they are chartered, they're going to be so gracious and thankful that you were there every step of the way and did not bail on them. Congratulate them on any accomplishments. Some of these clubs might be giving an icebreaker speech for the very first time. Congratulate them on that. Some might be a Toastmaster for the very first time and learning how to do an MC. Give them kudos. You want to congratulate them as they're taking their first steps and are being successful every step of the way. However, be kind with your suggestions for improvements. These Toastmasters and future leaders are doing this for the very first time in most cases. So you do not want to come down on them. You want to be kind with the suggestions and build them up, because we are building future leaders and future communicators. So continue to build them up. You do not want to tear them down. And keep that open communication with that leadership. Do not only communicate with them as needed. You want to be there step by step with them, because if they feel like that they are abandoned, and if they feel like that you're only communicating with them if there's a problem, they're not going to see the end goal with this, and they're probably going to give up if something happens and the times get tough. So continue to just reach out to them if they need something. Ask them how things are going. Be at their meetings. Keep that communication channel open with them every step of the way, because we don't want them to feel like they're out there by themselves having to fend on their own. They're a part of the Toastmasters family. We want them to feel like that they're in that family. If you're interested in being a sponsor and a mentor, either reach out to myself, reach out to Jason Cook. Let one of us know, because we are trying to build up the list of the sponsors and the mentors, because we have at least 12 open opportunities that we are actively working on right now, that they are going to hopefully start needing demo meetings at the start of next year and going forward at this point. So we need sponsors and mentors, since we've only got a selective list right now of a few, less than 10 at this point. So if you're interested in being a sponsor and a mentor, let me or Jason know. We will get you on the list, and we are going to continue to grow these new clubs going forward. Let me stop sharing, since that is it. Is there any questions or any thoughts or ideas that anybody has? Since I know I shared a lot of information. Okay, if you have any questions whatsoever, either email myself, email Jason Cook, email Maudie or Kristen. Any one of us can go ahead and get that answer.
Ahmad, I enjoyed your presentation. I know Makeup TLI is coming up. If you do the presentation again, can you add something about club coach? Because I know there's a lot of positions for club coach as well. And I know some things may have changed. Like some people say you cannot join the club to count as one of the 5 members. What are some of the requirements for coach? I would love that. And then have it be available on the D63 website to be able to see that one as well. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll modify this presentation to add that one piece and that one element to it. That way it's actually got all 3 covered in it. Good point.
But can you, is that the status now? You can be a coach and be a member of the same club, or you cannot?
Well, at the time of the appointment to that club, you cannot be a member of that club at the time of the appointment to them.
My club has a club coach, and that person said even now they cannot join to get us over the 5.
Right.
And that's something new that just changed this year. So even if you become a club coach, you cannot join to make number 5. In the past, it used to be you could, and now that's one of the changes. You cannot anymore.
Okay.
Right.
That's why we wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That I know at the time you could actually, at the appointment, you had to for sure at the appointment could not be a member of the club. But I knew that they made some modifications to that I thought that, yeah, you couldn't be a member at all during the coaching period at all.
Yeah, but you could join after if you want.
Yes, after the coaching appointment's over, yes.
Thank you.